Dust off that whale oil stash and get your best steampunk finery out of the closet, because we're less than a week away from Dishonored 2, the follow-up to Arcane Studios' critically acclaimed stealth murder sandbox. The first game impressed critics and gamers alike with its imaginative world and open approach to gameplay, but grabbed a little bit of criticism as well for not quite putting together the whole package and lacking in depth. With another playable character, more abilities, and more nuance this time around, we'll see if the sequel can answer those critiques. Dishonored 2 releases on November 11th for PC, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4. If you want to know how good it is critically, keep an eye out for an Is It Good From Us later, but keep in mind that review copies won't be sent out to outlets until the day before release, so those will come a little bit later thanks to Bethesda's new policy. But here's everything feature-wise you need to know about the game if you're considering buying it. For those who missed out on the first entry, Dishonored is a first-person stealth action game that puts players in the role of a supernaturally gifted assassin, Corvo. At your disposal, you have an almost unlimited arsenal of tools with which to take on bad guys, including steampunk weaponry, crazy powers that let you teleport or, possess rats, and of course the wonder of physics. You could do this head-on, or instead you could sneak your way through Dishonored's world. Dishonored 2 promises even more tools, abilities, and variables than the first time around, thanks to a new playable character, Emily Caldwin, who joins Corvo in a brand new story. Each one has their own powers and weapons, and will also get different story variations and dialogue as they progress through the game, so it's recommended you play it twice. If you haven't played the first one, or you just forgot about all your time spent possessing rats and turning members of the aristocracy to ash, the story of Dishonored 1 takes place in the industrial city of Dunwall, the capital of the Empire of the Isles that's plagued by a corrupt government and, well, an actual plague too, which is carried by hordes of murderous rats. Main character Corvo was the royal protector of Empress Jessamine Caldwin, who gets murdered while searching for a cure for the plague. Naturally, Corvo gets framed for the murder of the Empress and is, yes, dishonored. It follows the typical video game formula. After that, Corvo gets badass powers from a mysterious otherworldly dude who calls himself the Outsider, then goes on a revenge hunt and murder spree of the corrupt aristocrats who killed the Empress and took her daughter, Princess Emily. Tiny spoiler, through a series of twists and turns, you find out that Emily is actually Corvo's daughter. And spoilers. In the low chaos ending of the game, you save Emily and defeat main bad guy Havelock, restoring Emily to the throne so she can cure the plague and rule the Isles in peace. There are actually 3 different endings to the game depending on how much chaos you caused, but that seems to be the canon one heading into Dishonored 2. And now we zip forward 15 years later. At the outset of Dishonored 2, Emily is the Empress and ruling things in relative peace until one of the villains from the first game's DLC, a powerful witch named Delilah Copperspoon, shows up to screw everything up. She ousts Emily from the throne, and then you get 2 options. Corvo can pick up his old murdery assassiny mantle and set things right, or Emily can do it herself and she'll be given the powers to do the job. The task of restoring Emily takes the story this time around to Karnaca, a wind-powered coastal city that isn't nearly as gross as Dunwall, although instead of murderous plague rats, you've got swarms of bloodflies and sometimes dust storms mixing things up, so it's gross in its own way. The sprawling city has a lot more vertical spaces to explore and multiple pathways, and was designed to emulate the look of southern European coastal countries rather than the more industrial look of Dunwall. Whereas in Dishonored 1, the primary mission hub was a pub, in Dishonored 2, you have your own ship, the Dreadful Whale, where you'll regroup after each major mission. You'll find a mission board to give you your next task, and the ship will even change over the course of the game, sometimes collecting objects in your cabin, or even new characters who join your cause. Think of it like a really big open-world version of You Must Build a Boat. As for those missions, each one is given its own theme or mechanic in Dishonored 2. One mission puts you in a decrepit mansion with time warping, for instance, while another might see 2 gangs of assassins both going after targets with you caught in the middle. Helping you navigate each mission is the Chaos Meter, which is also back in this game. In the first game, the more chaos you caused, the more destabilized the world became. More chaos meant more swarms of rats coming to devour corpses, which was super gross and also forced you to change how you played. In Dishonored 2, that same basic idea holds true, only this time there's a little bit more nuance to it. For one, it'll be swarms of bloodflies coming instead of swarms of rats. Nuance. Bloodflies can affect your path across the city and seem generally annoying. Second, different bad guys are worth different amounts of chaos depending on how good of a person they are. This value will be assigned randomly at the beginning of the level. If someone's more of a murderer, it's not going to cost you as much chaos to ruthlessly assassinate them. The heart will play into this game more because of that, not only telling you secrets, but also helping assign someone's moral worth. Like before, the amount of chaos you sow will factor into the game's endings. There will be cynical and optimistic endings of both low and high chaos, with various permutations based on other decisions you made while playing the game. Chaos will also affect how characters respond to you on the Dreadful Whale and throughout the story. To help you complete those tasks and options for creative assassinations galore, you'll have access to a variety of unique tools and powers, depending on whether or not you choose to play as father or daughter. Like before, the goal is to give players enough ways to cause maximum ridiculousness with the ability to chain together powers for deadly results. Corvo gets some of the same powers from the first game, like Blink, which allows him to teleport short distances, only this time he'll be able to change directions with an upgrade. He'll also have the ability to bend time, see enemies through walls, possess enemies or other creatures, and wind blast people for style. Emily's abilities are slightly different, although they're cut from the same supernatural cloth. Rather than Blink, she gets Far Reach, which is like a mystical grappling hook. It can pull her to hard-to-reach places, for example, but it can also pull objects or even people to her. She's also got Domino, which ties together the fate of two people, meaning if one dies, so does the other. Doppelganger, which is creating a double of herself that can distract enemies and even cause damage, and Shadow Walk, which allows her to crawl through tight spaces. If you're wondering whether or not you should get it on PC, Dishonored 2 does have a few specific options just for the PC crowd. It's got an Ansel support for 360-degree screenshots, an adjustable field of view, tweakable bloodfly and rat shadows, you know, the important stuff, multiple monitor support, and an uncapped frame rate. While the game is coming out on November 11th, you actually can nab it a day early if you want it badly enough to pre-order it. Just keep in mind that because of Bethesda's new review policy, there won't be any way to vet the game ahead of time. But the option is there to get it early if you really want it and you don't care about the reviews anyway. And for those of you on Steam, you can start preloading the game as soon as Tuesday, November 8th. And that about does it for our Know Before You Go for Dishonored 2. We'll have to see if double the main characters and powers means even more fun than our first journey to the Empire of the Isles. Are you planning on picking the game up? Let us know in the comments and check out other videos in our Know Before You Go series.
She can't escape! Put on the uniform! Take this! Come here and fight, coward!